Are you a deviant? You know, like those of us who binge watch serial killer programs, laugh at the stupid shit people do, and revel in anything adult? Well, you found your people. Join us as we crack open the door to the padded cell and release the insanely stupid, the weirdly wonderful, and those who choose to live outside societal norms. We'll delve into the strange, the macabre, the sexy, and the outrageous. So, if you're a deviant, then you have your place with us in the padded cell. Hello and welcome to episode 91 of the Padded Cell podcast. So it's the 12th of June when this goes out.
Is it?
12th of fucking June. Nearly my birthday, nearly 50. Been saying I'm nearly 50 for about 2 years.
Well, you got a lot of well wishes the other day, didn't you?
I did. Well, on the townhouse Facebook, it says that the birthday is the 1st of June. And it's sort of my name-ish. Yeah. And so Cruz and Kev started wishing me happy birthday. Every little motherfucker wished me happy birthday. No, sorry, that was the club.
Happy birthday, Norbert.
That's it. So, this isn't the 12th of June that I'm talking about here, but on the 6th of June, which would have been a few days ago, it was National Fish and Chip Day. Ooh. Do you love fish and chips?
With curry. Yeah.
Right, I was going to ask how you prefer your fish and chips. Is it with curry? Yeah. Gravy?
Oh, gravy's not bad.
It's got to be nice onion gravy though. Yeah. It's not shit gravy.
Yeah.
And also, I don't like the curry that's got aniseed in it. Old-fashioned chippy curry, it's got to be. I've not tasted the aniseed curry. Oh, loads of them are doing it now. It's nasty.
Oh, no.
It's not dead strong, but I've got a really good sense of taste.
Taste in it, yeah.
It's just, and aniseed's really overpowering.
It is.
And what about, do you have mushy peas?
No.
Jimmy loves mushy peas, and I give him terrible wind.
Did he?
Oh, God.
A farty ass?
Yeah. He has mushy peas, and the wind in the night is terrible. And he always says to me, it's going to be a rough night. I've had mushy peas. Oh, okay. I know loads of people that get that from mushy peas. I'm surprised you don't get that. I don't like mushy peas.
No.
Do you like pickled onions?
I'm not a massive fan on them, no.
Really?
Yeah.
I thought you'd be a big pickle fan.
Our middle kid loves them. We get a jar of them.
Pickled onions. When I was a kid, occasionally still do it now. I just stick a pickle in my mouth and suck it. I just suck all the vinegar out of it. I suck it until it's soft, and then I go,
put it back in the jar.
I did it. No! I did it as a kid. And my nan, in the 70s, would have it spread out at Christmas and everything, all nice things. Yeah. And pickles, because my granddad used to do his own pickles.
Oh, okay.
And they were like rocket fuel. They were so strong and dead crunchy. Salivating, literally thinking about it. I used to have this big bowl of like homemade pickles. And literally throughout the night, you'd see me just like that. And they're big, massive things. Oh.
Yeah.
And that Vicky, stop eating all the pickles. I never got any negative effects from eating so much vinegar and pickled onions, never. So fish and chips for me.
Yeah.
Decent sized fish.
Yeah.
With loads of batter. Jimmy likes it thinly battered.
Yeah.
Proper chippy chips, not fries.
Yeah.
With a bit of curry on the side, but not over it, like a dip into the curry. It needs to be optional curry, not smeared all over it.
I like the smear.
Pickles and thick white bread and butter to make fish butties. You on board with that, Cordelia?
Loads of butter.
Loads of butter. Lurpak.
Yeah.
Got to be Lurpak. You all know we like Lurpak.
Salted butter as well.
Oh, yeah.
It's got to be.
What's the point of unsalted butter if you're not cooking? It's for cooking. When you go to Europe, everywhere's got unsalted butter. Like, throw fucking salt in it, for God's sake.
100%.
Yeah. Speaking of which, salt and vinegar on the fish and chips.
Oh, it's got to be salt and vinegar. Loads of it.
Loads. Yeah. I want to see
it. Got to
it.
be drenched. Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
So for those who aren't in the UK and don't really know what our fascination is with fish and chips, if you're abroad and you find an English restaurant, they might do fish and chips.
Yeah.
It's just not quite the same though as when you... However, if you're in Greece or Cyprus, there's an awful lot of people in that country who've worked in the UK in a chippy or they've owned a chippy. The amount of Cypriots in Liverpool that have got a chippy is unbelievable. When you go to Cyprus, to Larnaca, there's a big, massive fish and chip shop in Larnaca, and it's known right across the whole island, and people travel in to go to this chippy because it's just like UK fish and chips.
Love that.
Yeah. So if you ever come to the country, you've got to go to a proper chippy and get battered fish and chips with gravy or curry. And do you know what? Sitting outside on like the coastline or a beach or somewhere and just eating it out the paper.
Yeah.
You get it wrapped in paper. If you're posh, in a tray. I don't want it in a tray. I want it in the paper. On a big bag of chips.
A soggy paper.
Yeah. That takes me smoothly on. Segue on to something else. It's completely unrelated, but it does sort of link in. Right.
Go on, I'll see if it
Do
links.
you remember phone boxes, proper phone boxes, red phone boxes?
Yeah.
Do you remember them, Cordelia? No. Phone boxes.
Oh yeah. Oh,
the
my
red
God.
phone boxes. Yeah.
Actually, when I was a kid, one of my friends went into the phone box and got his little finger trapped in the clothes bin. I saw bone. It was horrible. It was absolutely horrible.
But is that heavy? They're like
they're really
heavy doors, aren't they?
Yeah. Oh, hideous.
I can't even think what they're made out of, but they're super. I couldn't hardly open them as a kid.
Yeah.
They're dead heavy.
Yeah.
Ugh.
But all the times I went into these phone... Right, okay, so the people who aren't in this country, I've actually got a picture, Cordelia, of a red phone box, because there's a point. There's actually 3 phone boxes together. There you go.
I see it.
Okay, so the red phone box at the end there is what we... Well, I'm going to say what we know now. They're not may around.
Yeah.
But since the early 20th century, we've had phone boxes like this dotted on our streets all over the place.
Yeah.
And the red one on the end there is what I remember as a kid. Occasionally you'll see them around and about.
Yeah.
Now they're worth a shit ton of money, and people often have them in venues as like a little feature.
I've seen a few.
We were going to get one
from
in the
gardens.
club, but they're so expensive now.
Are they?
Yeah. But when I went in these as a kid, because people are just disgusting, you'd often find a bag of chips on the floor, just distributed all over the floor.
Yeah.
People would piss in them.
Yeah.
People would spit in the receiver.
Yeah.
Oh.
You'd pick it up, you put it to your ear and go, oh, fucking hell.
Yeah.
I've got golly all over me. They do nasty things to the phone boxes. And so I didn't really go in them very often. And I think that's part of the reason, obviously got mobile phones, why they were phased out.
I think
because
so.
they were disgusting.
They were.
People would have to go in and jet wash these things out because they were that dirty.
Yeah.
So the reason why I'm bringing this in is because one of the other things I was going to bring up is on this day, on the 12th of June, in 1880, the first paid telephone service was installed in New Haven in Connecticut in the US.
No way.
And a year later, a paid service was introduced in the UK in 1881. And in 1884, the first public telephone boxes started getting installed.
No way.
But they weren't dead common, to be honest. They were just popping up here and there and then became more common
Yeah.
as time went on. And now you hardly ever see them. Now, round by ours, there is actually 2 phone booths. They're not phone boxes.
Yeah.
And I didn't see them at all. Jimmy saw them. He went, you know, there's a phone booth. I went, eh. And what it is, you know, them big, massive signs, advertising signs that light up. They just stand on their own.
Yeah.
They light up. They're behind them. There's a phone behind the sign.
No way.
Yeah. So they're still around, but they're disguised.
Yeah.
And they're not enclosed. So now if you piss, it's not going to be enclosed.
Yeah.
Because when those doors closed on those phone boxes, they were so heavy and hard to open again. So any piss and smells that were in there just got trapped.
Wasn't it? Yeah.
And so the next person that went in just got a full-on smack in the face of urine and chips and vinegar, basically.
Yeah.
Horrible. Right, so this is a bit of a shorter episode because the last one went on because I thought it was a really good episode to go in depth.
Yeah.
And so I'm going to move straight on to our subject. And if you were watching last week, you know what it is. I've still got my Lady C garb on. I haven't got changed from the last episode. We're shifting gears from medical fetish right on to financial domination.
Yes.
Do you know anything about financial domination?
Yeah, I know a lot about it. I didn't. And then, obviously, the more you're in this world, the more you learn, don't you?
Yeah.
I know what it is. I don't necessarily understand what people get out of it, mainly because probably because I'm poor.
Yeah.
So I there's no benefit
You could be
of it.
a FinDom, though.
Yeah. There's a few people who've messaged me, and I've had little dabbles in it over time. It's just trying to find. I think a lot of people like the idea of it.
Yeah.
So yeah.
I don't like it personally. I don't diss anybody for doing it, but I've seen abuse over the years, and so now I don't allow any financial domination in any of my FetLife groups. It's banned.
Yeah.
I don't allow paypigs or nothing like that. I'll explain what that is in a minute. So the last episode about medical fetish, I brought that in because it's dangerous and mostly illegal.
Yeah.
Financial domination, we will go into the legalities later on, but again, it's another dangerous fetish. And so I want to do a little series over time of some things that people do and you might want to do, but you need to go into it with eyes wide open.
100%.
And so that's why I wanted to do these two things.
Yeah.
So I'm not saying that you shouldn't do them, as long as you're fully informed, you know what you get yourself into and you protect yourself along the way.
Yeah.
I'm not going to, piss all over your chips and tell you can't do it. So, financial domination, or FinDom, as I've just called it. It's a kink where a submissive gets turned on by handing over money, giving up financial control to a dominant partner. It can be short-term, long-term. It can be a one-off. It can be as part of a relationship. It's basically about sacrificing any power and control. And sometimes it can be about humiliation as well.
Yeah.
Okay. So do you mind sharing maybe one of the messages you got, what somebody wanted you to do for them as a FinDom?
Yeah, so the most recent one, I put a picture up of trainees that I wanted. And I was just like, oh my God, these are amazing, blah, blah, blah. And they messaged me and was like, well, you could get someone to buy them for you. And I was like, I doubt it at this point because they're sold out and resellers have got them up at 3 times the price. I said, so I wouldn't let anyone buy them for me. So, chatted on because I chat to everyone who messages me. I think give everyone time of day. And they were like, well, really nice trainees. I said, I know they want to be top on my list. And they were like, oh, you've got a list? And I was like, well, yeah. Like a trainee hit list of ones that I want. Sent me the list, sent it over. Okay, well, I'll have a look, see if I can get something done. Nothing's ever come of it. And it's been a lot of back and forth. And I thought, well, fair enough, because the trainer's 175 quid. Yeah. And I was like, I wouldn't want to pay that. So I sent a message. I said, listen, my inbox is bursting, especially on Instagram. I said, and by time the next day's come round, I've got to scroll to find your message again. Yeah. I'd love to have the time to just sit and chat with you and give you the time of day, like, hi, how are you? And small talk and all that.
And your trainers, basically.
Yeah, but I haven't got time for the small talk. I said, listen, you proclaim to be this pay pig. I said, we've been talking for 2 months. Nothing's ever come of it. If the shoes are too much, let me know. If it's something you just prefer the idea of, I said, you'll have to find someone else to just chit chat to. Yeah. And they were like, okay, well, payday's Friday. The trainers are a bit too much for the first, what's they call offering or,
Tribute.
Tribute. I was like, yeah, that's fine. They were like, well, I said, let me know what you want to spend. I said, I'll find something you can buy me. Send it to an in-post locker. Yeah. Because I don't want to just give randoms my address. I said, we'll start there if you want. I just left it at that. I've had nothing back since. And, they might be busy. Yeah. I never expect a reply from anyone. But yeah, that's when I said before, I think some people like the idea of it more than the...
Well, you think about you work really hard for your money.
Yeah.
I know, maybe not everybody's in the situation, but money is still a precious commodity.
Oh, fucking right.
It pays your bills. It keeps your head above water. Yeah. It buys you nice things. It buys you clothes, food, your basic stuff. So to hand that money over to somebody for not an awful lot of return, if any return.
Yeah.
It's something that I've struggled to understand.
Same.
Financial domination over the years is the one thing that I can't understand as a fetish.
I can't. I still don't get it.
So I'm telling you here what the psychology and everything is around it and why people do it. I just still haven't got my head around why a submissive would want to do it. A dominant, yeah. I just don't understand the rush they get from it, from handing over money that they've worked really hard for. And some of them get into a regular commitment with somebody.
Yeah.
So we'll go into that a little bit more.
I've seen people do like full allowances and,
don't even get a thank you.
There's my card. Just take my card details. Yeah. Get what you want.
Get what you want.
It's like, you don't even know this person really.
I know. They could clear them out.
Yeah.
Can I ask a question?
Yes.
Is this different from like sugar daddy sort of relationships, or can it play into that?
So sugar daddies or cougars, they're in a relationship most of the time.
Yeah.
It could be a long-term relationship, but there's some kind of relationship,
Would you say sugar daddy cougars more from a top perspective?
Yeah.
Like treating their thing up, but they get sexual gratification in return.
So there's more of a two-way exchange. So with sugar daddies, they are receiving, whether it's sex or adoration or love, whatever it is. All that. And then they'll get a monetary return. Normally with a dominant, there's no real reward or anything in return for the money.
Sometimes,
Sometimes it can just be, I want your money, and if you don't give me the money, I'm going to do X, Y, and Z. And can sometimes be blackmail in there.
Yeah.
We're going to go into that.
Yeah.
So let's break this down. So from a submissive point of view, they're often called a pay pig. And I don't like that either. And I know it's a really common term, and the people that are into this don't even mind being called pay pigs. The ones who like humiliation love to be called a pay pig.
Yeah.
I just can't get my head around it, really. And I'm not shaming, I just don't understand. So what is this? What does this money represent? It's the loss of control. So for many, handing over the money is a total surrender.
Yeah.
You're literally giving somebody else the power over your finances, which then means your independence and choices.
Yeah.
So if you haven't got the money there, I can't go to the pub tonight with my mates. I can't go and see that show. I can't book the holiday. I can't get to work. Whatever it is, they're handing over complete control of their finances. So like you said, they can hand over their card with all the bank details on. I've known somebody who's cleared the paypigs account and put an allowance in. And I know the person, and it was done very, very well, actually. And the reason the paypig wanted somebody to take control is because they didn't have control of the finances themselves.
They were irresponsible, yeah.
That's, I think, was a healthy way of doing it. But I
Yeah.
know there's some people who've been cleared out and never got it back.
Yeah.
So for others, it's a humiliation. So some people, pay pigs are aroused by being told that they're worthless and pathetic because they can't manage their own money. And they need somebody else to do that for them. And they exist only to serve because they're not good at anything else, including handling their own finances.
Yeah.
It's a degradation thing. So the one I've found really common is validation through sacrifice. So by giving money, it becomes a form of worship.
Yeah.
So the bigger the tribute, the bigger the devotion to the person.
Got you.
So I've known some domies who've been around as long as I have, and they've got a good reputation. And so they've given a submissive their time. And so the submissive wants to give them money because it's their form of gratitude and worship and putting them on this pedestal. I'm not worthy of this, but you are. This is my gift to you, my devotion to you. And for some, that act is more meaningful than sex, that act of devotion. Some pay pigs, they see it as a form of escapism, escaping the real life for a few minutes. Somebody else is taking control over their finances. So it might be that you give somebody your card and they go and buy a pair of shoes of 300 quid.
Yeah.
And they give it back. Just for that minute, it's like, oh, they're using my money. Oh, well, it's gone.
Yeah.
It's gone.
Yeah.
And then for others, unfortunately, there's an addiction to the rush. People that really get into pay pigging, it becomes an addiction because they get addicted to the rush of the gratitude that they might get.
Yeah.
I know some don't give it, but some they pay into a conversation, a relationship over the phone, over messages. And it's an addictive thing. If they pay again, they're going to get another message for this person they've put on a pedestal. Yeah. If they don't pay, they're going to get nothing.
Yeah. Yeah.
It's dangerous territory, isn't it?
Oh, absolutely, yeah.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Some liken it to gambling when it gets to that point.
Yeah.
That rush that they get. So for the dominant, it's this power affirmations, this worship, the gratitude. Somebody's put you up on that pedestal so much that they're willing to pay you quite a lot of money or even your rent.
Yeah.
There's an emotional detachment. So for some dominants, they don't want to be emotionally detached. They don't want to get to know the person. They just want to like hit and run, if you like.
Yeah,
but with this, they haven't even got to say thank you. They can take money in exchange for dislike and disdain because that's what the submissive wants.
Yeah.
There's boundary enforcement with some dominants. So a skilled FinDom they know how to push somebody's limits through tease, denial, occasional attention, and then pulling it away again.
Yeah.
And then you're not going to get it until you pay me. And they'll give them all these things and then withdraw it whenever they want to be paid again. And like I said before, it's eroticism without touch. So some submissives really get off on the psychological side of that power trip, the taking control away, probably in the wank bank for weeks. But the dominant hasn't had to lay a finger on them. They can do it from a beach in Ibiza.
Yeah.
And still get paid for it.
Yeah.
Okay, so both sides can tap into things like vulnerability and exposure. So the physical submission, financial submission can feel intimate between the two parties because you've got this sort of agreement between you both. A FinDom can thrive on the illusion. It doesn't have to be real, it can just feel real. The power, wealth, the luxury items maybe that they're being given.
Yeah.
But there's a catch, obviously. It's a real slippery slope, and this is why I don't allow people in my groups on FetLife who are into this or if they're promoting it. Because it is tied to survival, but it can cause debt and shame, and it can impact on your self-worth if you haven't got any money left. And actually there's been guys who want to keep paying but run out of money, and there's a shame and guilt aspect because they can't give their mistress what they want.
Yeah, and then they might look for other avenues just to keep that going.
Credit cards, loan sharks, all that kind of thing. So there's a danger of overspending. They can hide their financial difficulties and damage from their spouses. It can cause problems in work if they've got their own business because they could loan from work. It can affect the business. They can ignore red flags because they're desperate for that hit, and then they can get into bed, if you like, with unethical doms, domays. So people that are going to abuse them, that's their only mission, is to take money off you for very little in return. And the long-term repercussions, they can lose their job, the house, even relationships have broken down. So there needs to be consent and transparency and absolute boundaries. You know, you've got to have these in place beforehand. Now, I am going to bring up somebody who contacted me on the Townhouse FetLife. I think I might have been signposted, but they contacted me anyway and said that a dome who had been to the club, who actually bought shoes off me at some point, I'm not going to say who they are, had some form of a sexual relationship with this guy who had a girlfriend. And so this dome decided they'd both agreed to get into financial domination. And he agreed to pay her rent in return for her not saying anything about this thing. And when it came to the next month, she said, you need to pay me rent again and again and again. And she got quite nasty with it and was blackmailing him and said, if you don't pay my rent because it's now late, I am going to send this letter to your girlfriend. And this is her email address and all the rest of it. And this guy was literally teetering on the edge of a breakdown. He was that worried. And I said, are you not prepared to just tell your girlfriend? And he was like, no, I'm not prepared because it's not just, he said, if it was just a shag in a dungeon somewhere, I could maybe explain that. But now they've been paying the rent and I've got myself in this downward spiral, this hole. I don't think she'd understand it. And even if she could, I'm so embarrassed that I've got myself in this position. So I said, okay, well, you've actually been well and truly fleeced and abused, and it's criminal. I said, I advise you strongly to go to the police. And he went, well, no, because then I'm going to have to raise a report and my girlfriend might find out. I said, okay, I don't normally do this. I'm going to step in to know the person. So I contacted her on Facebook. And I just said, what you're doing is criminal. It's blackmail. It's harassment. You could go to jail for this if you want to press charges, or it could finish you in your real life. I have advised him to do this, and if he doesn't, I'm going to, because you're both members. I don't agree with it. It stops right now. And I don't want to see it ever in the club again, on the Northwest scene or anywhere. I said, because you're dangerous, you're unethical, and you're not welcome anywhere in my airspace. Anyway, she stopped immediately, and he went on with his life. She didn't like it. She didn't like being told. And I'm like, well, you're completely illegal. You've gone off the rails. What you're doing now is beyond financial domination. What you're doing now is blackmailing somebody to pay your £600 rent a month to stop you ruining his life. So you're ruining his life from both angles. He's fucked from both angles, basically. And that is not financial domination.
It stops because everything we do has got an element of fun to it, hasn't it? So, you know, it is something that should just be kept light-hearted, I think. But you do get people like that who are greedy and fucking, it just rolls into the next one, into the next
do you know
one.
what? Maybe she didn't start out that way, but she finished out that way. And somewhere she should have checked herself. Yeah. We should all be checking ourselves all the time when we're doing this. And we're still doing this for the right reasons. This person that I've just beaten to a pulp, was that all what we agreed? You just need to check yourself all the time. Did it get a bit over enthusiastic there? Was I showboating a bit there? Was I really checking my submissive there, or reacting to the crowd more? Yeah. And she didn't check herself. She got carried away, and it went beyond the financial domination into a criminal act. Yeah. So thankfully it was stopped.
The blackmail's horrible.
This guy was literally teetering on the edge of a breakdown. He was really mentally unwell. He was so worried. Not nice. And there's been some real life stories where it's gone too far. So this guy called Daniel in Australia, it's a pseudonym. Over 6 years, he spent a 6-figure sum on financial domination. He described the experience as addictive, noting that the thrill of being financially dominated led him to significant financial strain. He observed that some men in the FinDom community ended up homeless or relying on food banks due to their financial commitments to dominatrix. And while Daniel's acknowledged the personal satisfaction he derived from FinDom, he's also recognised the potential for financial ruin and emphasised the importance of setting boundaries and seeking help. So this guy, there's no sort of like legal police involvement in that, but he spent up to 6 figures willingly and has acknowledged that it was an addiction. Yeah. It didn't lead him to financial ruin, but it could have. Yeah. And there's another guy here in 2023, as a UK university student, became involved in FinDom during COVID. He used funds from his student maintenance loan. I mean, they don't get an awful lot as it is. Yeah. And he spent approximately £1,800 on financial domination activities. He recounted instances where he paid for dominatrix to humiliate him during Skype sessions, and he even participated in cash meets where he handed over money in person for nothing in return. And he described the experience as quite addictive, acknowledging that he spent money he couldn't afford. Despite this, he expressed no regret whatsoever, stating that the thrill and arousal he experienced outweighed the financial cost. I don't understand the thrill and arousal from handing over a lot of money. I mean, for him, he hasn't earned that money. That was a student loan. Yeah. It's a loan, though. He's going to have to pay it back one day with a bit of interest. Mm-hmm. So he might not feel it now, but when he's paying that loan off years later.
Will he still feel happy about it?
Exactly.
Then, yeah.
So if anybody's interested in financial domination, how do you go about it safely? You negotiate up front thoroughly. And it is something that put in writing. It's not where the paper's written on, but to actually see it in black and white actually brings it home to the two parties, what you're agreeing to. Yeah. To say I'm going to hand over £100 a week to somebody doesn't sound an awful lot. But when you put it in writing, you're going to pay £100 a week. But how long are you going to pay that money for? Put it in writing. I'm going to pay it for a month. That's £400. Can you afford it? When it's £100, maybe it doesn't sound as much. When it's £400, that sounds a bit more. Yeah. For me, £100's too much. So the time scale's on there, and you're also agreeing what you're going to get in return, if anything. Yeah. Is there going to be a weekly Skype? Okay, when's that going to be? If that doesn't happen, are you still going to hand over the money? Yeah. So there's got to be an agreement in place, and both parties have got to agree to it. Yeah. And then if anything does go awry and your dominatrix starts pushing for more, you've got it in writing, actually, what you've originally agreed to. And if you want to change it, that's up to you. Makes me sick, actually, just talk about this. Set spending limits and stick to them. So don't allow a dominatrix to push you into giving them more because the rent's gone up or whatever. Yeah. It's just bullshit. Agree to the spending limit. And I would strongly advise, if you're going to get into regular payments or paying for goods, have a prepaid card with a limit on it. Yeah. And don't overspend, go past that. Once it's gone on your card, it's gone. Don't use credit cards with big, massive interest rates and everything on with a limit of $4,000 or whatever. A prepaid card with 500 quid on it or whatever. Yeah. Once it's gone, it's gone. I used to do that with the races. I didn't have a prepaid card. But I used to go to the Aintree to the Grand National and I'd go with like 200 quid. I wanted it gone, it's gone. It fucking killed me. Yeah. My dad was a gambler. bad gambler. And so now gambling makes me go, because I can see, how much financial ruin it can cause, literally losing a house out of it. Wow. And so this is probably why it makes me a little bit uncomfortable.
Maybe, yeah.
But, having a prepaid card, I think, would be a good way of controlling it. And checking in regularly with your dominant and making sure that there's still a relationship dynamic there. Yeah. So you can get bored.
Yeah.
Just like, well, I'm getting the money for nothing here. Make sure you're getting your side of the bargain. Watch for any red flags. So that could be manipulation, demands, threats. Yeah, that kind of, like I've just said before, moving the goalposts. And take breaks if you need to, have break points. Some people get into long-term financial domination, literally paying the rent for somebody long-term, but they enjoy what they get back. Yeah. But it could be that you find yourself in financial difficulty, but don't necessarily want to stop the agreement. You might just need a break. So agree break points. Yeah. Your dominant might want you to prove that the need for the break point, but definitely write it in there so you've got an out, if you like. So know your boundaries, know the law, and communicate early, quickly, clearly.
Everyone's communication and everything we do, though.
Of course it is. You're dealing with people here, real people, real life situations, and a life outside of kink, and that has got to be considered at all times. Yeah. Don't get me wrong, kink is my life. It's become my life, but I still have times when kink doesn't even enter my head. Mm-hmm. I've still got to communicate. Yeah. All the time, even with Jim, we do this sort of thing all the time. Still got to communicate, haven't you?
Yeah.
Does that deepen your understanding a little bit about financial domination?
It does. And don't get me wrong, I understand it. I know what happens. I know what to get out of it. I don't really understand what to get out of it. But it's one of the things I just couldn't see myself doing. I don't get that point of it. No. Don't get me wrong, I'll buy people things they will like and give them to them, and
that's a gift.
Yeah, I get a little sense of that was nice. That
well, it's good endorphins, isn't it? It's good hormones. Yeah. It feels nice giving somebody a gift. I love giving somebody a gift and then watching them open it and watch their face. It makes you feel nice for nothing in return. But I love doing things like that.
Not once have I seen someone on Insta and gone, "I'd love to buy her a pair of shoes."
No,
it's that bit that gets me. I was like, I don't know. I haven't got an ego at all. And I was like, maybe it's more cut out for people who have got egos and think you should fucking buy me.
There's a lot of narcissistic dominance out there, isn't it? An awful lot. And a lot of them call themselves, goddesses and stuff like that who are into FinDom.
There was one who was talking to Mrs. G and was like, I'll have to come up north and show you all these doms, what a proper dom looks like. I was like,
a proper dom.
You wouldn't get past Birmingham.
A proper dom, though.
Yeah, I know.
A dom from Wish.
I know.
Just so you know. So before we started Cordelia, you weren't sure about financial domination, didn't understand it or anything. Does that answer some of your questions?
I reckon Cordelia's got a secret page. And I reckon Cordelia's a FinDom.
How much money do you think I have? Yeah, it does. I don't understand it. I really don't. I think Sugar Daddy, I sort of understand that a little bit more.
Because it's a two-way street.
Yeah, exactly.
I think.
Yeah.
And and that's what I sort of get. So when this guy first messaged me, I was like, well, what do you get out of this? Like, do you want me to send you pictures or...
Cock in hand?
Yeah. Like, what do you want from it? And he never, ever answered it. And I was like, all right, well...
Yeah, I do understand submissives that worship their dominant and will do anything for the dominant. My ex-sub was like that. And he would literally do anything. And came to Christmas one year, he got me all sorts. What are you doing spending all this money? I'm not going to spend it on myself, am I? And he did. He did spend it. He had a few quid, But I never, ever asked him to buy me anything. Yeah. He'd just gift them to me. And as his mistress, who he adored and worshipped, he would be like, all excited. You could see him dead excited. He'd come in and he'd go, like Toy does. Yeah. And he'd hand over this thing. And I'd be like, oh, what's this? And he'd go, it's a gift, mistress. And he'd be all made up. And I don't know. I'd go, oh, I'd be something that I've wanted. He'd listen to what I've been saying. I'd be something that I'd want. I'd go, oh my God, it's amazing. He'd be like, oh, his little fucking face. Yeah. So it was great for me to see his pleasure. Yeah. But it was really nice for him. So I can sort of see that if they're going to get that sort of response. But some of these dominants, they're not even saying fucking thank you.
I know.
It's the humiliation, the
Yeah.
disregarding of somebody who's handing over that money because they think so highly of you, and then you just go,
Yeah, I think I value money too much.
I do. God, when you've earned your money, you've worked really fucking hard. There's no way I'm just going to hand it over to somebody for nothing.
Oh, that's crazy.
I think when you've lost all your money as well, because we've lost everything twice. And when you get it back again, God, you cherish every fucking penny of it.
That's it.
There's no way I'd hand it over. No way.
Yeah.
Because we did this little subject, we can't do yours, obviously.
That's all right.
But I think that's a nice little follow-on from last week. Seems we haven't done BDSM for a little while.
Yeah.
So we can't do a, do you know?
The Muffin Man.
So I'll keep it for next time.
And
my dangly bit as well, because that one's a bit of a whistle stop.
Yeah.
But
Nice.
do you know what? Do you know what I'm going to do? Because I feel a bit bad that last episode was only 35 minutes. I'm going to release an additional Patreon. What should I say?
So get your tits out. So you should be like, oh, sorry everybody for not having a normal episode. I'll make it up to you. Here's my tits.
Here's Ryan's tits instead.
Oh, I'm not getting mine up.
So we're going to have to leave it there, but I'm going to release an extra Patreon, I think. So for those who are a bit pissed off, there's a bit of a shorter episode. It's because you got more than the last one. You can't have everything.
Yeah.
But if you want that additional episode, you can nip over to Patreon. There's loads of Patreons over there.
It's only a few quid as well, isn't it?
It's $3.50.
Yeah. That it?
Yeah. The other thing is, since I'm not doing Fetish Factoid, a little bit of info. Those who are on iOS and Apple phone, if you go through Patreon, iOS were forcing you to use their payment system, and they were putting 30% on top of the Patreon cost. Bastards. So it was stopping people who used Apple sign up for Patreon.
Yeah.
Anyway, now they've been forced. Apparently, that's not good. It's illegal. It's whatever.
Yeah.
And so they've been forced now to offer other payment gateways, so the 30% has been dropped. I'm like, that. Fuck you. That was only in November as well. How long did that last, you greedy motherfuckers? I don't care. It's slander. Sue me. You're wrong. And you've been proved that you're wrong. You've been told to reverse it. So, we're going to go. If you've binge watching, put the cat low and see you in 5. If not, we'll see you next week.
Ta-ta.
And there we have it. Another day made better by listening to the Curators of Chaos. Thanks for dropping by. And if you enjoyed the show, we'd really appreciate you sharing the Love the Paddysell podcast with your friends. Don't forget to give us a follow on our socials, maybe some 5-star reviews, and feel free to send us an email to medic@thepaddysellpodcast.co.uk, or even interact with us on Facey, Insta, and our other socials, because we love chatting to you. Make sure you stop by next week because, as Bowie says, I don't know where I'm going next, but I promise it won't be boring. Catch you soon.